Welcome to my channel, Adult Literacy and English Language. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more videos like this. I am going to be reading The Janitor's Son by Andrew Clements, Chapter 17, One-Way Ticket. Jack sniffed the air coming out of the steam tunnel again carefully. Nothing now, but there really had been the barest hint before in that first rush of upward air. Watermelon bubblegum. Jack was sure. Well, he was pretty sure. Gently, Jack closed the door. He pulled the black curtain to cover it again, tucking the wooden sword out of sight. Abandoning his search for the auditorium lights, he hurried across the stage, jumped down to the floor, and trotted up to where he had left his bucket. Jack looked up at the clock and saw it was already 3:45. He had missed out on Mr. Ackerby's offer to quit early. Maybe the offer would carry over to Tuesday? He ran silently through the halls. When he reached the door at the top of the workshop stairs, Jack paused to listen. If possible, he wanted to get in, borrow a few important items, and then get back to the auditorium without meeting anyone. He didn't hear anything, so he opened the door and scooted down the stairs. He put his supplies away and then went over to his dad's desk. He was betting there would be a flashlight in it somewhere, and he was right. In the top right drawer, there was a small black mag light with the name of a plumbing supply company printed on its side in gold letters. Jack twisted the end, and the light came on. Bright and steady, perfect. He tucked the light in his back pocket and went over to the workbench, trying to imagine what else he might need. He couldn't really think of anything else, not for a quick first look, but when he saw a pool of nylon string, his mind flashed the story in Huckleberry Finn, the part where Huck and Tom get lost in the caves. Jack grabbed the spool and stuffed it into the outer pocket of his backpack. Then he pulled out his old white Minnesota Vikings cap and put it on. He was all set to leave, was actually on the stairs, and then stopped. He needed to leave a note for his dad. It was Friday, and Jack was sure his dad would want to leave right at 5. Rushing back to the desk, he scribbled the message and dashed back up to the landing where he almost collided with Lou. Lou flattened up against the wall, exaggerating his close call. "Whoa there! Where are you off to in such a big hurry? Late bus already left. You about ran me down." Jack said, "Sorry, Lou. I'm going to go and study for a while. Maybe walk over to the library or something. Then I'm going to ride home with my dad. I left him a note." Lou hurried down the stairs and grabbed the gray toolbox off the cluttered bench. "Your dad sent me to get the toolbox, and he said if you were still here, would you mind cleaning up the bench for him while you're waiting? We've got a busted door he wants to get fixed before quitting time." Lou was already back at the landing. "So I'll just tell him I gave you the message, okay? If I don't see you again, you have a good weekend, Jackie." Jack stood on the landing. Looking down, he could see that the workbench was a wreck after a busy week. He used to love putting it all back in order when he came to visit his dad at work. Yeah, Jack thought, back when I was about 6. First, I've got to scrape junk off of 10,000 seats, and then I have to clean up this mess too? No way. Jack stomped back down the steps, crumbled the first note he'd left, and tossed it into the trash. On a new piece of paper, he scrawled, "Dad, couldn't clean up the bench. I have some other stuff I've got to do. See you at 5, Jack." Jack made sure that no one saw him go back into the auditorium. Walking directly to the back of the stage, he left the wall curtain in place. No sense advertising that someone was here. He took out the spool of string, set his backpack and jacket on the floor beside the door, and turned on the flashlight. Pulling both keys from his pocket, he chose the right one and opened the door just a crack. He went to check himself. Had he just imagined that watermelon smell? Jack sniffed the airflow. He shook his head and sniffed again. Nothing. At least nothing he could recognize. Mostly it smelled like his basement at home, but not as damp. Stepping inside the doorway onto the metal landing, Jack shone the light down the steps. 5 steps ran down to a short corridor, maybe 15 feet long and only about 3 feet wide. The floor of the corridor was concrete, and the walls were terracotta building bricks, the hollow kind. The ceiling was also concrete, a little less than 6 feet high. At the end of the corridor, there was an opening, no door, just an opening, rectangular and dark. Jack wanted to leave the access door open, but it swung outward too far on its own. He tried putting his backpack against it, but then his backpack made a bulge in the velvet curtain that hid the door. Shining the flashlight around to see if there was something else to prop it with, he saw the wooden sword. He bent down and picked it up. Smiling, he decided to take it with him. After all, most of the really great explorers had swords, didn't they? Sword in hand, he stepped back inside into the landing and bravely pulled the door shut behind him. Instantly, he wished he hadn't, and he reached for the knob on the inside of the door. It wouldn't turn. Shining the light, Jack saw why. It was a double-keyed door. It needed a key to open it from the inside, too. Reaching into his pocket, Jack froze. He only had one key. He didn't even bother getting it out to shine the light on it. He knew it was the wrong one, the tower key. He needed the other key. It was close, only about 6 inches away, but Jack couldn't reach it. Key number 73 was sticking from the lock on the outside of the door. This is really getting interesting, class. I am so anxious to start chapter 18 to see what's really going on. It's getting more and more mysterious in this story. If you haven't already, like and subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one, and let me know what you think of this story so far in the comments section. See you in the next one, Lord willing.